Welcome to the Profitpreneur Power Play Podcast, your daily dose of strategies, insights, and action steps to grow your business and build your freedom. It's time to stop playing small and start making power plays.
All right, looks like we're live now. Good. All right, so everyone, hello. We're getting so close to the holidays, so very excited to be able to meet with you guys right before all of that good stuff. Today, we're going to talk about something quite interesting. Everybody likes to or wants to grow their influence, but nobody ever wants to feel fake while they're doing it, right? And today's guest knows exactly how to help you go from follower to authority and do it authentically, right? No pretending, performing, or forcing it. And that guest is Dr. Bob Clarke. He spent over 30 years running IVF labs, all while building a business on the side, right? And he became a six-figure earner in both healthcare and online marketing and retired from healthcare years ahead of schedule, years ahead of the plan. And he now leads the Part-Time Prosperity Tribe, which helps entrepreneurs build freedom without burnout. So his topic today is how to go from follower to authority without feeling fake. Because real authority is not loud and flashy, and it's certainly not forced, but it is built through alignment and not acting. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring Bob out. Hello.
Hey, what's up, Val? How's it going?
It's going great now that I got my tech fixed.
It's always great to wake up to tech issues, right?
Oh, I can't stand it. Oh my gosh. Anyway, definitely excited for what you're going to talk about because I love the subject of being able to grow and evolve as a person, as a business owner, but not having to do it where you don't even recognize yourself anymore,
Yeah.
Really excited.
Excited to dive into it. Perfect.
Awesome. All right, well, go ahead, take it away.
All right. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Hey, guys, what's going on? Great topic today. And Val teed it up perfectly. And I'm excited to dive into it a little bit deeper for you today. So the thing is, right, we all start as followers. And we all kind of know, and I've said this in previous episodes, and I know Val has told this to people and Kim and everybody else, right? It's like, you have to step into leadership if you want to stand out and if you want to grow a large business. Usually that involves stepping into some kind of a leadership role. But the biggest problem I've heard my students voice is that they feel fake while they're doing it. And the reason they feel fake is they're trying to portray someone that they're not. And that sends off all kinds of warning signals in our minds, right? That we're imposters, right? We shouldn't be doing that. So what I wanted to do today is talk about, okay, yeah, we know that nobody's going to appoint you a leader. We've talked about that before, right? Nobody's going to say, hey, you're a leader. Maybe in your job or your occupation, that's the case where the boss will appoint you or promote you to a different level and appoint you more of a leadership role. But in business, that doesn't happen. And so you have to appoint yourself. You have to just declare it and go for it. But we always as trainers, we always kind of leave you there. Yep, got to step into leadership. Okay. But how? What does that look like? And how do I do that without feeling fake, without feeling like an imposter? That's what we're going to cover today. So, first of all, like I said, everybody starts as a follower. And what does follower mode look like? It's always consuming information, right? And not putting anything out there in the internet in terms of what you learned. It's waiting for instructions. It's copying other people and not really stepping into originality and authenticity. So it's more, we know what followers are, right? We were born followers. We follow our parents And now, that's the first place we usually start in business, as a follower. And that's cool. That's not a problem. The problem is that people say, I know that I want to lead. I know that I'm meant to lead, but I don't feel like a leader yet. I don't feel like a leader yet. So in today's episode, what I want to help you get is that from that feeling of, I want to lead, but I don't know, but I don't feel like one yet. I want to get you from that feeling and give you kind of a concrete plan to develop your leadership in a way that feels authentic and not fake. Okay, so that's what we're going to do today. So what is leadership in home business? What is that? Well, it doesn't mean you're a guru. It doesn't mean that you have to be a six-figure earner. It doesn't mean you have to be the loudest person on a Zoom meeting. All right, it means nothing of that. It means, and this is maybe the most important part of this whole talk, is to understand this point. Home business leadership means being one step ahead and willing to take responsibility for helping others like you take that step. So I've used this example before. Someone who's just made the decision to join a business, right? To start their business, to get going and put themselves out there and take a risk. You might think, well, I have nothing to offer. I just started. But you're wrong, because you just made the first decision to start a business. And that's a hard decision for many, many people. There are people out there who are one step behind you, who haven't made that decision yet. So imagine if someone like that offered to buy you lunch, sat down with you and just kind of grilled you on what went into your decision, right? How did you finally make the decision? What were the steps? What were you feeling? How did you get over the anxiety of what if it doesn't work, right? What if you were able to talk to somebody like that one-to-one? Would you be leading that person into that decision? Yes, you would. So just because maybe you're not out there getting huge results yet, someone is always one step behind you. And that's the person who you have to focus on leading. Not the gurus, right? You don't have to be a guru. You don't have to be a six-figure earner. None of that stuff. You just have to be the person who will help the person right behind you, the step behind you. So once you think of it that way, it takes so much pressure off, right? Leadership isn't about leading millions of people, although if that's true, that's great. But leadership can be leading one person. And being a leader, it's a role, right? It's not a rank, right? It's not a rank in your company. People think of leadership more of promotions, because that's what used to happen in their job. But in home business, leadership is a role, R-O-L-E. Okay. So having said that, what holds most people back? What's holding you back from stepping into leadership? Well, for most people, it's a lack of those big visible results. And they say, I'm not successful enough yet to lead. That's most people. Most people have a small audience when they start. Maybe it's one or two people, and it feels too small to lead. Right? Who am I to lead? Right? Who am I to help? Well, you're the person that can help the person behind you, like I said. You know what? And these are constraints. It's not like you're not wrong to think this stuff, right? You're not wrong to think, well, I don't have a lot of results. You're not wrong to think like my audience is tiny, right? But they don't disqualify you from being a leader. Nothing to do with it. So what's going on in your head right now as I'm saying this? Maybe there's an identity lag. Maybe you still see yourself as just a learner or just a rep in your company and nothing special, right? So maybe there's that identity lag. You don't see yourself as a leader yet. Maybe you're comparing yourself to others, right? Who are more polished, who are better leaders, who have a bigger tribe. Maybe you're comparing yourself to those people. It's not a fair comparison, but we all do it, right? Maybe you have that fear of being exposed as a fraud if someone asks you something you don't know. And by the way, one of the most powerful phrases when you're talking to somebody, if they ask you a question you don't know, is to say, I don't know. Let me see if I can find the answer for you. Right? So you don't have to pretend to know everything. And then there's the old perfectionism, right? Perfectionism, you want to wait until everything's ready to get ready before you become a leader, right? So maybe these are some of the things that are happening right now in your mind. So then the question is, how do you make the identity shift from follower to leader, right? How do you make that shift in your mind? Because that's where it's the most important thing, right? The actual doing is easier. You're always fighting the inner thoughts, the inner critic. So how do you make that identity shift in your mind from follower to leader? Well, as I just alluded to, you can't be a leader in general. You have to lead specific people. And by that, I don't mean specific people by name, but a specific person on where they are in their journey. So for me, right, I lead busy part-time entrepreneurs who are trying to get to 10K in their business. That's me. That's what I do. But I've been around a long time. Maybe you lead, let's see. Maybe you lead nurses who are trying to break out of the nursing profession by making more money on the side, and maybe you help them get started in a business. So maybe that's what you do. So you have to figure out in your mind, okay, who do I want to help right now? Who could I help right now? And that's where you start. So the big thing is you're not leading people to their final destination, right? Just the next meaningful step in their journey. That's the biggest jump, right? This is where most people get hung up because they feel like they have to know everything. They have to, have done all this stuff that they haven't done. And that's where the whole imposter stuff starts coming out, right? How can I lead somebody in that when I haven't done it? Well, you shouldn't be. Right? But you can lead someone who's one step behind you so that they can meet you where you're at in your journey. That's the whole key, is to reach your hand down, pull somebody up who's right behind you in that success ladder, and that rung, the rung below you on a success ladder. You reach down, you're pulling them up. That's leadership. It's not that you have to push them to the top of the ladder so they hit their final destination. No. Take the pressure off yourself. That's not what leadership is. All right. So a couple things before we wrap up. You got to lead yourself first. And by that, I mean, you got to keep your promises to yourself. Nothing can wear away your self-esteem than not keeping your word to yourself. Because if you can't trust yourself, right, how can other people trust you? So if you've made a habit of breaking promises to yourself, you got to fix that. Probably first and foremost, you got to fix that. So how do you do that? You start with very small actions. I'm gonna create I'm gonna create one social media post today. That's it. And you do it. Kept your promise, right? I'm gonna write one email. I'm gonna write a half an email, right? I'm gonna reach out to one person today. That's what I'm gonna do. And you keep your promise and you do it day and day and day and day, right? And you do it every day. And pretty soon, your mind will switch from I can't trust myself to I'm trustworthy. That's the first step, because you got to trust yourself before you can become a leader. All right. And then you start finding very, very small ways to lead, right? Even if you only have 1, 2, 3 people who you can identify that you could help, right? You find very small ways to help them. So here are some concrete examples. You could run a small coaching hour, implementation power hour, I've heard it called, right? For people who you think you could help. You can invite them. It could be on Zoom, it could be on Google Meet, whatever platform you want. I don't know if you guys know this person. His name is Bert Bledsoe. And I met Bert years ago when we were both just starting out. And he was trying really hard to figure out how he could lead. And what he ended up doing, which I thought was brilliant, and he wasn't working, so he had a lot of time at that point. What he ended up doing is having he called it free daily coaching. It was Monday to Friday and in the morning, and he would just basically invite people onto a Zoom, and he would tell them what he's doing that day to build his business. And it took some courage, right? Because there was some stuff that worked, some stuff that didn't work, but it was real. And at first, I remember he had a couple people on with him. That was it. And then he got 5. And all of a sudden there were 10. And one day I popped in to see how he was doing. There was 20 people on the call. I'm like, wow, his sphere of influence is growing. So you could do something like that, right? Even if one person showed up, doesn't matter. You're displaying your leadership by helping people in their business. So that's one thing you could do. You could share some information, some stories on exactly what you did to get your last 5 leads. Let's say you generated 5 leads. What did you do to get those 5 leads? And show somebody, right? Create a video so other people can watch you do it. That's leadership. Okay. If you finally broke through the courage to talk to that one person on your list who you want to recruit, but you were afraid to talk to, and you finally got the courage to do it, you can create a video talking about that and your mindset of how you finally were able to do it and what was the outcome, right? That's leadership. Very small, but it's leadership. So you don't have to, it doesn't have to be huge, but I really like that idea of inviting people onto a Zoom or something and letting them watch you work, or letting them go through, hear your thought processes of what you're going to do in your business today, and then show them the good, the bad, and the ugly. Right? I like that idea. And Bert went on to grow that free daily coaching huge. He had a huge following until he finally stopped doing it. Right? It was amazing. Okay, so let's build a 30-day leadership plan for you. So week 1. Like I said, work on leading yourself, right? Choose your niche, define who you want to lead, figure it out, set your content rhythm, just get into the flow of your own business, right? Get into flow. And for your first week is kind of getting things going. Second week, teach what you've done, okay? Share 1 to 2 specific things that worked for you or didn't work, it's fine. But share it, right? Publicly share it. Week three would be maybe do something like either informally or formally help other people. Maybe it would be a small implementation session, maybe an accountability thread, something. But week 3 is kind of taking week 2, sharing it and doing it in a little bit bigger way, maybe in a mastermind way or in a group accountability way, just getting people together, right? To help them out. And then week 4 would be to plant your flag publicly to declare, hey, this is what I'm doing. If you guys want to watch me do this, get on Facebook or social media, whatever platform you're using, right? This is what I'm doing. Here's who I'm leading. Would love to have you join if that's you, right? Let it go out there so that you declare your leadership. And once you declare it, right, you got to follow it, right? You got to follow through. It's a little scary, but you got to do it. So that could be your 4-week plan for developing leadership, or you can make up your own. But basically, the steps are trust yourself, right? Work on leading yourself, and then work on leading one person who's a step behind you, and then start growing that, right? Into as many people as you can find who need your help. So this isn't theory, it's how you become a leader in your own mind. So here's your challenge this week. I know it's a holiday week, but here's your challenge this week is stop waiting for permission and step up. Okay. Pick one leadership action today to do in the next 48 hours, or let's say it's a holiday weekend. So maybe before Monday, right? Pick one leadership action to do today. Make a social media post declaring your focus. Invite people to a little small power hour. Share what you did that worked or didn't work. One action. Do that this week, and watch how your business starts to change. Because now, when you do that, you've set yourself apart from 95% of other people in home business who will never step into leadership because they're scared. That's what I want for you. All right, Val, perfect. Hope that went well. Hope you guys got some value out of that.
Yep, absolutely. I love it. Just from the idea of going from the desire to the decision,
Yeah.
right? I think, a lot of us think, well, I feel this desire within me to lead. So how come I'm not doing it yet? Or how come I don't feel that way yet? I don't feel like the leader yet. But you guys, I'm telling you, if you follow the tips that Bob has been going over in this podcast today, you will definitely start to feel that shift. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
I think if there's one big takeaway, and the one that really made the difference for me was understanding that I didn't have to lead everybody to their final destination. Right? I didn't have to know everything. I just had to know what I know, and then help somebody else who didn't know that, right? Who reach down, pick them up, and that to me was the biggest thing, because I always thought that I had to know everything, and I couldn't be a leader until I had all these results, and was all this money or whatever was crushing it. And the reality is that you can be a leader at any point along the way of your journey.
Yep, that's for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys, like that's how I got started. I just got up here and started yapping.
Yeah, that's
Just
right.
sharing who you're meeting, what you're learning, what you're doing, why you plan to do it. It definitely helps to keep you accountable as well.
Yeah.
Say that you're
Yeah.
going to do something and
And I
people
would,
are excited for you.
yeah.
Then it's
Exactly.
like they're looking forward to seeing how you do, even if you don't quite reach the goal.
Yeah.
I've had to share that before.
Yeah, and that's so I mentioned my friend Bert, and he was telling me that some of the best episodes he ever had of his free daily coaching were ones where things didn't work well, because people wanted to see that, right? How do you come back from
Yeah,
that, right? What do you do when you do a video and nobody watches it, right? Or whatever the situation is. So that's also takes some of the pressure off. Is that you don't have to
yeah,
be the person where everything works. You can't be that person, but you show
exactly.
the warts and all, and people will just get much closer to you.
Yep, yep. I love that. Yeah, and I love Bert. Haven't
Bert's,
talked to him in a while, but
no, me either. I haven't seen
huh?
him in a long time, but every once in a while he pops into my universe. So
Awesome. All right, you guys. Well, you know the challenge, right? Stop waiting for permission. It's time to step up. And yes, you can still do it this week during a holiday because it's still a day. Okay. So there's not that you have to ever overwork yourself, but especially not on the holidays. Maybe this is the time excuse me, you do not have to fake it to become credible. You don't have to fake it ever for anything. Okay. You don't have to pretend that you're somebody you're not. You don't have to perform. All right. Because authority comes from consistency, clarity, and character, not perfection. And inside of the Profitpreneur membership, we have a whole community here, as well as the training and the tools to help you build real authority that is rooted in your skills, your stories, and your strengths, so that your audience trusts you because of who you are and not because of what you're trying to imitate. Okay, so go ahead, start that 14-day trial today. The link's in the description. And the thing is, you're not waiting around anymore to become an authority. You're becoming one every single time you show up. Don't forget that. Okay, so thank you guys so much. We hope you all have a very happy holiday rest of the week into the weekend. And we will see you back here. I actually will be on tomorrow. For those of you that want to join me, it'll be very brief because I got to cook. Matter of fact, I got to go start that now. So thank you guys so much. We'll see you again tomorrow.
Bye, guys.